Welcome to the On-Premise IT Roundtable podcast, the only show that happens to be both on topic or on premise and on location on premises. I'm your host, Stephen Foskett. Each time we meet, we bring up together some IT luminaries to discuss a single concept. Today's premise is artificial intelligence. We are hearing so much about AI and ML and all this big blah blah from all these big enterprise companies. And, well, there's this feeling, this undercurrent that somehow this may just be a bunch of, let's call it BS. So I brought together a group of people who have strong feelings on this topic. Let's have them introduce themselves now.
Hello, my name is Max Mortillaro. I'm an analyst at Tech Unplugged, and you can find me at Dark Avenger with 2 Ks.
Because 2 Ks is better than 1.
Exactly.
Hi, I'm Andrea Mauro. You can find me on Twitter, Andrea_Mauro, or on the web on my blog on vinfrastructure.it.
And I'm Gina Rosenthal. You can find me at gminx on Twitter, and our podcast is Wide World of Tech.
The Wide World of Tech. Do you have a sportscaster as your podcaster?
We talk a lot about sports.
Excellent. Okay.
Actually.
So we're going to talk about AI, though. And here's the thing. I think that people are just getting some AI fatigue. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's got to be AI this and AI that. I mean, isn't this just a bunch of nonsense?
It is. And it is absolutely crazy to hear everybody talking about that. It's the buzzword. It's the cloud of today. Yeah, people were talking about cloud all over the place maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, and everybody's talking about ML and AI, and nobody seems to really back that with anything they're actually doing. So that's why I have such strong feelings around that.
Yeah, I think that is mostly a buzzword in some cases, and there is a lot of confusion about what is or what should be AI. And what can be machine learning? That is, I think, a different topic. For enterprises, maybe most of the focus can be on the machine learning for how improve data collection, data analysis, and so on. But in most cases, we are just talking about the idea and not how we can use this idea.
So the way I think about it is AI is the hottest new buzzword that's been around since the 1940s. And artificial intelligence, when we think about things like the Turing test, which was written by Alan Turing in 1950s, was about can a computer think? And that's really what AI is. AI is getting machines to do things that humans would normally do, think and sing or identify or that kind of thing. So I believe that the enterprise can do AI.
So do you think that Mark Zuckerberg passed the Turing test when he was here in the Senate?
That's not very nice.
Well, it's great that you bring up the Turing test, because I think that really cuts to the heart of this matter. Because the Turing test basically says, can a computer fool a person into thinking it's not a computer? And I think that what we've seen right now, I mean, you've got ML, for example, ML applications like image recognition and pattern recognition. And, look at how does your Tesla autopilot work, right? It fools us all into thinking that it's smart, but it's not. It's really not smart, and it's not thinking.
Well, so think about, the way I think about it too is this is brand new to start thinking about doing this in the enterprise. And you talk about ML, no one's talked about DL at all. And deep learning really is just a subset of machine learning that happened because now all of a sudden we have these hardware accelerators, which are really graphics, and we figured out, oh wow, these can do complex math equations for us and give us an answer. So you can run things through, you can get things to think, and that we've only just scratched the surface of this. And we've only scratched the surface of enterprises being able to say, I've got all this data, what do I want the computers to do that I don't want to do anymore? What decisions do I want them to make? And I think it's having not having to think you have to have a supercomputer with the funding behind a supercomputer all bare metal to make it happen makes a big difference too. We've got these accelerators that can actually do the calculations in a reasonable amount of time, and you can virtualize all of it now too. So it's definitely possible for enterprises to do this.
Yeah, and it's also a mix of IoT, cloud computing, and data distribution and data analysis, because you bring potentially all together to do in place data evaluation or data thinking or something else, and then use the cloud computing or some cloud resources to provide the feedback and maybe to reiterate what you have learned locally and share those kind of data.
Yeah, so one thing which I find extremely annoying when I hear people talking about AI and ML, especially when it's about vendor messaging, is the fact that we are confusing AI, which is, as you said, artificial intelligence, which is the ability for something, whatever it is, to think about, to have its own kind of sentient form of expression, which means that it can create something of its own. And machine learning is just about, training some, creating some algorithms or creating something which is able to recognize patterns, which is not the same thing exactly as thinking on your own. Right? So that's really annoying. And also from time to time you hear, solutions are being built into a product, which means that your product has some kind of machine learning capabilities or AI pattern detection capabilities, and then trying to tie that into the broader aspect of what the research which is going on the broader market, which is totally different.
I totally agree with that, and this is something I'm working on. And when you go out to try to read in the market, it's either super, super, super academic, which is great, but it doesn't really tell the story of how would this work if I'm not doing this to go look at a supernova, right? Mm-hmm. And or it is companies, and what I found that aggravates me the most, and we're probably guilty of this too, is calling AI, which is just machine learning, which is just all the machines being able to talk to each other and running it through some regressions to figure out, hey, did this happen before? Should we do this or do that? Mm-hmm. Which is just machine learning. I almost think there's like this continuum of stuff. You've got big data that you can run lots of information on. You've got all of this new stuff with IoT, just like bringing all this data, lots and lots of new data. Then you've got machine learning, deep learning, which all runs on HPC systems, right? All of that together can lead to AI. You don't have to go all the way to AI. You can do some different things, but let's call things what they are and not get too carried away, right?
Yeah, but maybe it's not so cool, because if you bring a name that is AI, seems everything, and if you just focus on the technology, that is more honest and maybe can be also more interesting for enterprise. It can be not so cool. For example, in security, the deep learning or machine learning can be really interesting to build a new generation of firewalls and protection system that can really help administrator to solve the problem, to find patterns and so on. But maybe just say, is AA, is intelligent, artificial intelligence is better. I don't know.
Well, you look at a lot of these products. I mean, so specific products that say that they are AI are actually just looking for patterns in logs.
True.
Is that AI?
No.
Let's go to the lightning round. Okay. No. Is a network intrusion system that looks for predefined patterns in logs, is that AI?
No.
What if it looks...
I'm not sure that's even machine learning.
Yes.
Neither.
What if it has a machine learning library and uses ML to match logs? Is that AI?
What I will see as AI would be if there is a pattern which emerges in the logs, something which the system has never known yet, and for whatever reason is able to correlate by taking bits from other parts of what has been collecting over the years and determine, or at least give a kind of probability that what we are seeing here in the logs is this kind of event. To me, that will be a kind of AI or ML, let's say, attribute.
I think maybe if we could apply the Turing test to what people are calling AI, that would be to the determination if it's really AI or not. But I think you have...
If you could say, okay, is this product done in a computer, or is there a person, an expert, working in the background? Okay, I'm with you on that one, Zena.
But like what he says too, because it would be AI if you used machine learning and deep learning maybe to teach your environment about all the different threats and things and what they look like, and then you have all of this neural network that when something the computer's never seen before comes through, it runs through the networks and says, oh, this is something new, and here's what I'm going to do about it, and then goes and does it. That's what I would think AI. That's what you just said, right?
Exactly. Kind of putting some tags or some classification. This is this kind of event 80% probability. This might be an intrusion, maybe 20% probability. Kind of giving a rating about what it can be, and then you can give your feedback, and you can help improve the algorithm or something like that.
Right. This is the first step. The second is build a common memory of those or what the system has learned, and make possible to other system.
So kind of sending telemetry data to
exactly.
a central. So kind of having a cloud service somehow which collects the data.
Sure, because this is the powerful of.
Yes.
But I wonder, can anything actually do this? Could anything pass your Turing test?
Maybe not now, but I think and this is what'll be interesting to apply it to the enterprise, because we have problems like this, which are very different than what research problems that they're looking for. So. Yeah, I think maybe. If we're able to teach a car how to drive and to make a decision if what to do if it's in a death situation, either way it goes, then why couldn't we teach? I think the security example is a great one. Why couldn't we teach systems to figure out what's what and to
what's
react
normal
on
and
that?
what's abnormal?
Yep.
You could teach what's normal and what's abnormal. I'm trying not to talk about products, and you keep leading me down that road.
Yeah.
But so what's good, and concentrate on what's good, and then reject anything that's not good, but get to the point where the machine gets to decide on its own and make those decisions.
But I still have the feeling that we are not yet talking about AI as something which is self-conscious for whatever reason. For me, AI is something which is self-conscious, which is an artificial intelligence, which is something which is at the very least, it might be different than the human intelligence, but it's intelligent, it's able to make decisions of its own. It might be self-aware or not, hello Skynet, but something like that. And what we're talking about right now in the enterprise area about these detection capabilities is mainly subsets of it, chunks of it, just machine learning somehow.
Agree.
But this is the first step because you have to learn like a child.
Absolutely.
He's not able to take a decision, but he's trying, make some errors, learning from that, or listen for the parents on what he has to do.
All right, another lightning round question. Okay, how about a storage system that dynamically adjusts caching and tiering of data based on what it sees in and out of the system? AI?
No,
Yes.
it's just.
wait.
Disagreement. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. It depends how is done this decision because if is working only on data on statistical of data how block are repeat or what is the frequency is not machine learning or something else. If it's trying to take some data from the workload application, make analysis on how, for example, the query has done on a database system to anticipate the type of data that can be useful, maybe is a first step to do something different, but is like define the working set of the memory. Is something that is possible? Actually not. We can try to predefine something to preload some pages in memory, but it's not the same thing. Found a way to anticipate how a workload can work or how an application can perform with some type of data? Maybe yes.
Yeah, so when I said yes, I was kind of maybe going too fast, but it really depends. I wrote something about that maybe a couple of years ago about that it might be the future of storage arrays, but to which extent it is artificial intelligence and no longer machine learning? Because if you're just talking about thresholds, which were preset, and the system is learning to adjust the thresholds, then is it AI? It might not be. It might be still machine learning.
Is that machine learning even? Because that's maybe Bayesian, which is not.
It might
right?
be,
That's
yeah.
not even machine learning.
Yeah, probably.
Right?
Well, Bayesian is not machine learning, but Bayesian could be AI. So that's the thing.
No.
AI does not necessarily mean ML. And
Okay.
historically speaking, the Bayesians were more ahead of things until we got all these stupid GPUs, and now everybody's doing ML and all this. I'm not convinced that that's ever going to be AI.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that it. But I don't think Bayesian by itself is. I also don't think the machine learning or deep learning is. I think it's because really that you're just driving things back through the neural networks to make decisions, to refine the learning, and to make sure to make sure it goes from being a little baby to a toddler to a teenager, like that. That's how we teach the computers.
For whatever reason, I have the feeling that, at least in my mind, AI requires a higher level of awareness than just manipulating with raw numbers or data. To me, an AI system is a system which is somehow able to understand what kind of workload is running there and is able to kind of establish its own, I don't know to say that properly, maybe to have some kind of ability to evaluate whether this workload is more important or less important, and has to make prioritizations based on the criticality of the workload. And to make these kind of assumptions, then probably the system needs to understand what is running there, and it goes down to what is critical and what is not critical to the system. If you're running in a certain kind of business, then a specific kind of workload can be critical. If you're working in a different kind of business, then this workload is not maybe as critical. So based on the environment, then the system has to make the correct adaptations. I know it's really a lot of maybe a sci-fi, but if you look at it, if you're working in a hospital, then a system which is supporting life-critical systems, might have more priority than whatever database or filing reporting system. So
by your again, we're going to get to the lightning round here. So by your definition, Max, have you seen an enterprise system that is AI by your definition? No. Okay. Who wants to go next? With your definition of AI, like how would you know it when you saw it, and have you seen it?
From an enterprise, I'm trying to think if I've seen anything enterprise. I think the cars are pretty close, or they're getting there.
Yeah.
And that's enterprise. That'd probably be the best example. That's not research.
And so how would you know AI when you saw it?
If I think how I'd know is if the machines are making life and death decisions for humans, and we let them, and we're okay with it.
Okay.
Because we let a teenager get behind the wheel of a car. So are we ever going to be comfortable letting one of those machines make those life and death decisions without a human in the car to intercept?
And we have. We're literally doing that right now. So I guess by your definition, we've got it. Okay. Andrea?
Yeah, for me, something that can be closest is if we took the example of automotive. If a car can drive not on a highway, but in a city maybe like Nepal, okay. If you found something that
even humans can't drive in Italy.
Exactly. If you found something that does not follow your rules, neither other people rules, and a car can adopt, in this case, we have Skynet. No, not necessary, because but it can be a good approximation, yes. But in enterprises, yet we have. I don't think that we have artificial intelligence yet. We are close.
I think some of it's because we have this. Why are we having a debate about what AI is? This term is literally almost 100 years old. It's 80 years old. So
Yeah.
why are we having a debate about what it is? And I think we've never had to talk about it in the enterprise because we've never had the potential to do all of the things that make AI real. So you're looking at, all this. We've talked about how the explosion of data, right? We've been talking about that, from EMC World days from 10 years ago. But it's true. We've got all this data. We can do something amazing with it, and it's the potential to do it without having to buy a supercomputer, which is new.
Exactly. The paradigm is currently that you can do that out of off-the-shelf components, while maybe a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, you had to get a dedicated system to run that.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of agree with your description of it. If it's able to make life and death decisions, if we entrust the system with decision making, then it is AI, kind of. I still hang on to my ingenious concept that is ingrained into the sci-fi readings of too many, let's say, teenager years, which is that the system is self-conscious, kind of. But if it might not be self-consciousness, but if you entrust something which is not human to make decisions, then you already kind of go a step towards that. Okay, one last comment on that. The thing is that we always tend to imagine that because we humans are made in a certain way, that AI is going to be a replica of what we are, and in fact it may exist as something totally different. A lot of things you read on LinkedIn or other social media sites talk about how AI is going to replace mid-management, or it's going to replace a lot of persons for certain jobs. And when I see that, I always tell myself, I don't know if I have to rejoice or if I have to shudder about that, because it can be the best thing, it can be the worst thing ever. Because if you're just going to say, we're going to replace mid-management, well, if you replace mid-management to do the same thing as mid-management is doing right now, then you're not going anywhere, And that's a bit sarcastic, but that's...
I want to add something to that, because this is the part to me that is the most dangerous, right? So when you do AI, there is a lot of component of teaching the machines and the machine learning and the deep learning. If all of our content that we bring into that to train, all the data we use to train the machines, if the algorithm we use to train the machines, if the data is not diverse and the people creating the algorithms are not diverse, we're going to end up back in the 1800s where nobody has any rights except for one class and type of people. And so it's really, really important to know for us to know what this is and contribute to it, and for all sorts of people to be involved.
So you're saying that it's going to be kind of like the Wild West, but with AI?
I think it's gonna be probably more of a totalitarian regime.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's more the fear that we're gonna be under Skynet. We're gonna be under a totalitarian regime where machines are making decisions based on cold numerical facts without any kind of sensitivity to the people's situation, kind of.
Right, and the facts. Think of what the facts looked like. Even the facts, the data sets we have now that leave out women, that leave out people of color, that leave out people lower down on the socioeconomic spectrum, we can't have that data being the only data that's fed in to make decisions.
Exactly.
Because will usher the 1800s back in, and we don't want to go there.
Yeah.
It's these tiny things that make them seem real, to make the guests fall in love with them. And I guess that's true about enterprise AI too, right? I mean, you've got simple systems with machine learning or, looking for patterns in logs or whatever. But if you can give it just that spark that makes somebody say, maybe this is something different. Maybe this is something special. Maybe this is more than just, examining logs. Then maybe it really is AI, And, some people only see the danger in this world, but I see the beauty. Okay, sorry, I'll stop with the Westworld stuff. Okay, thank you guys for listening to the On-Premise IT Roundtable podcast. If you enjoyed this, remember to subscribe, rate, and review the show in iTunes, since that really helps our visibility, and share the show with your friends. This podcast was brought to you by Gestalt IT, your home for IT coverage from across the enterprise, and from Delos Corporation of Westworld fame. For show notes and episodes, go to gestaltit.com/podcast.